Do you have corona? Like, oh, damn it, yes. No one shows up. That was the quickest interview ever.
Tell people you'll be scanning them for temperatures. Like
Oh
checking
my
the for
God.
fever. Wait, so we talked about yesterday. Where's that? That restaurant in California?
Yeah, in LA. They have 3 places in LA that were any customer coming in, they had the little
Really?
thermal gun on them. I'm like, come on. It's Tustin. It's not, this is not Wuhan province.
That's crazy.
I gave blood on Sunday, so they checked my temperature, told me my iron was okay. So I'm like, well, I passed that.
Going in the right direction.
Right. It's so strange, though.
It is. It's just crazy how quickly it's kind of getting, out of control. We have a friend that lives in Italy. We're like, hey, man, you all right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's crazy out here, but we're all right. But it's coming your way. We're like, can't wait,
We were just, I don't know if you heard the thing that they said they were going to charge people with murder.
Yeah, I just read that.
Yeah.
In the UK or something, right?
If you don't quarantine yourself and they find out, 21 years in prison. Murder. The same as murder.
There's these apps on it was a TikTok. I feel so out of the loop. I'm like, I don't know. And they're showing, kids are filming what the hell's going on in these countries. And in China, they're going on to trains and tackling people and checking their,
Really?
it's insane. It's
That's so
and they're
scary.
uploading it to that, and they want you to see what they want you to see.
Yeah.
But when teenagers are on the train doing this shit, it's it's crazy. Well,
I hope it
I
doesn't
hope you all
get
lived a
to
good
that.
life.
Because now's the time of allergy seasons and
Yeah.
colds and things
Yeah,
like that, and
You get those
my other
books
half-
too.
My other half has some kind of cold, something. He's congested. You can't go out in public.
Yeah.
People are, and then I heard somebody here works. If you just cough in your workplace or sneeze because something, that's why we sneeze. Something's
get that
irritating your
look.
nose. People she got yelled at.
Yeah.
Yelled at.
There's 2 Broadway ushers that just tested for it. So I feel like today they're going to shut down Broadway. I mean, really. I know that tickets have dropped to $50 a ticket.
So go see Hamilton now.
Yeah, go see Hamilton. Now's your shot.
Quickly.
I'm doing an interview for something that is happening in a couple weeks at a movie theater, and I don't.
Yeah.
Well, we have a tour, and we're like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
see us now because we might be, we won't
We
be
might
around
be
for a
doing
while.
it for, we might be doing Facebook Live for the next
Yeah.
2 months.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
If you come to our show tonight, we'll give a roll of toilet paper for everyone.
I'm not supporting Purell.
Yeah.
It is the Woody and Wilcox Show at 106.5 The End and 1065.com. And of course, as mentioned, you can check out We Are Live now on the Woody and Wilcox Facebook page. A couple things to give you a heads up on. Later today, as a matter of fact, at noon, there is a world premiere of a song by a huge band that I didn't even know who it was. Woody says he knows who it is, but apparently we're not supposed to mention it. So that's happening at noon.
Oh, I'll tune in for that then.
All right. Well, look at that. Chris and Paul from the Chris and Paul Show are here. Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up?
So I don't even know where to start. I think I became aware of you guys from the NBC show Bring the Funny. And I don't know how long you've been doing what you do before that, but crushed it on that show.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah.
Really fun and funny.
Yeah, we've been performing together for 20 years, and we've had our ups and downs. And when we got invited to audition for that show, it seemed kind of surreal. We didn't really believe it. They're like, "Yeah, we want you to come in and audition in LA." We're like, "Really? All right."
Okay.
We auditioned in some hotel room, and it was just like, "You're on the show. Come back in a month." We're like, "Okay," and then it was just 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, it didn't even hit us right away when they told us, yeah, you guys we're going to give you a slot in the show. And oh, cool, yeah, and you don't think about it. And then as we're signing papers, it just settled in oh my God, we're going to be in
When you
TV
sign
show.
your life away.
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, so for somebody who hasn't seen it, it's not, you don't do stand-up.
Right.
It's sketch of sorts. Would that be right? I mean, do you guys call yourself sketch guys?
Yeah, we're like, you know, I think we bonded years ago over, you know, our love of like the old time greats. Like we love Buster Keaton, we love Laurel and Hardy, but we also love like Kids in the Hall and all the other things.
Yeah.
So we try to make like a little bit of a hybrid of the two. So yeah, we're kind of like a live cartoon on stage. You know?
Yeah,
We're like
okay.
two big tubby kids running around. It's like Looney Tunes live.
Very flexible, very
That
surprisingly flexible.
surprisingly flexible. That is slowing down quite a bit, though. I think our past 3 shows, Paul's broken his wrist and his thumb.
No, my pinky.
Pinky.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So we. Oh, there you go. You guys are pinky buddies.
I actually tore a tendon, so
I broke a pinky over the summer.
All right, you're good.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I want to be part of the pinky crew.
Hey.
What did you do? He was playing dodgeball with 13-year-olds.
I was probably slapping Paul. I mean, that's kind of usually what happens.
Was it on stage that you did it?
No. You know, we have to.
I'll say slapping.
We were filming a short, and I think that's when you heard yours.
Yeah, it was weird. I
So
think.
every time we're performing, not when we're doing anything else. Like we played football, hockey when we were kids. Never broke anything. Now I'm in my 40s, and my bones are like, okay, easy, bud.
Well, I mean, it's pretty physical what you guys are doing, though. So
Yeah, I think that's the funny part.
understandable.
People are like, "Hey, did you guys go to like clown school, or did you guys practice?" And we're like, "No, we just hurt ourselves." You know, we just kind of go for it. I mean, we learned how to fall.
Yeah, I mean, we do have training, but it's not like we studied in Paris for 10 years.
What it strikes me as is like guys who actually, and I don't know what your background is, but studied acting or studied like what's when you was it pantomime when you don't speak and you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Mime.
But mime, and then just immediately turned it on its head, and we're like, F you to all of this stuff, and we're going to put our own twist on all of it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it struck me.
Yeah, we like you know, like simple concepts, and kind of we play like a back and forth game with the audience where, you know, it seems like you know where the bit's going. We like kind of like leave breadcrumbs for the audience, and then there's some crazy, insane twist, and they're like, "This was not what I thought it was at all."
Right.
And then we black out and go to the next scene. So it's kind of like a fun game of guess what these guys are doing right now.
Like the one that was on Bring the Funny, where you were getting into the car and getting all buckled.
Right,
And,
yeah.
you know, oh, you're happy, and then
And then a
you
bank
go,
robbery.
yeah, and then you go rob someplace and
Exactly.
get shot. And,
You know, so it's like
All
it's like a
that.
kid show for adults, basically.
Yeah.
There's the kid elements, but then there's you know, we're gonna.
It's like, ooh, what
A little
happened
twist to it.
there?
Yeah.
well, so how does all that get started? Like you said, you've been performing for 20 years, and you know now a lot more people, I guess, because of TV, are recognizing you. But how do you get started down that path?
Oh, a lot of persistence and a lot of luck.
Well, yeah, Paul and I just, you know, we were doing like community theater like way back in the day, and we were living together in Stamford, Connecticut, and I have a lot of teachers in my family, and they were like, "You gotta go to school, do this and this." But my dad went to Juilliard, and he was like a musician, and he was kind of like, "Listen to your mother, but like, yeah, go get it, you know." And so I had that kind of thing. And I went to Paul one day. I was like, "I gotta move to the city. We have to do comedy. We have to do it." And Paul's like, "Yeah, okay, let's go." And we're like, "All right, great."
So I called a New York club. And I go, "Hi, I'm managing these 2 kids that want to do a show." He's like, "Yeah, just bring 5 people and I can do the minimum." Okay, we'll be there. And then we gathered all our friends, and then
We'd write our act on the train,
Yeah,
and then bomb
yeah.
horribly for years. And then it was kind of just finding, you know, it's mostly
What works.
trial and error, trying to figure out our act. And, you know, we slowly figured it out over
Yeah,
20 years.
I would say we probably found our voice probably like 2008, 2009. Gone. We did a sketch where we cut half of it and goes, "No, this works." And then Chris and I figured, like, you know, we got to simplify it. We don't need these 6-7 minute sketches.
Right.
So our sketches, as you see, are fairly short. We want to get to the setup and punchline as quickly as possible, and then keep on going when people go, "Whoa, what was that?" Okay, now we're on to the next thing. "Oh, cool," and keep them going instead of trying to.
I mean, I think hugely
Write that
important.
down.
We've all, yeah, well, yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Saturday Night Live. I've
Yeah,
watched a lot of
of course.
that, and you know, we all know that as many times as they do great sketches, there's always those ones where you're like, "Wow, this is still going."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you realize you gotta get it down to the bare bones and
Yeah.
keep it funny.
Because we've been around sketch comedians forever, even stand-ups, and a lot of comedians are always afraid to cut the best jokes, or if a joke doesn't work, it doesn't work. Use it in another sketch. So Chris and I are like, okay, fine, we will kill our babies. It's fine until we feel like we both love it. And the thing is, we're still working on the same sketches that we did 10 years ago, just to tweak, because not that we get bored of them, but we discover something else and go, oh, let's, Chris the other day says, I want to change this, even though we've been doing the same way for several years. and it makes sense for us and keeps us creative. And
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's and we have minimal dialogue in our scenes too. It's we like to be more visual than anything.
yeah,
You know, when we went to Bring the Funny, we have like our costumes, I guess, if you will. So people are like, "Who are these dorks?" You know, and then I pull out a whoopee cushion, and they're like, "What the hell are they doing?" You know, so we have a whoopee cushion in our bit, but it's kind of like how to find the simplicity in comedy and how to turn it on its head. You know, so we sucker them in with like, "Oh, I see where this is going," and "Oh, this is cutesy and this is silly,"
Right.
and then it's like, "Oh my God, I did not know that person was in that situation," and
Right.
The dark levels that you take it to are delicious. I gotta tell you, as a fan, I was like, "Oh my God, this is so dark and so funny, so quickly," because it does. I ran summer camps for kids, and so you guys reminded me a lot of the campfire at night, putting on little skits and stuff like that. And you're like, you know where it's going, okay?
Right.
Okay. Oh my God, no! The twist is quick and awesome. So.
yeah, yes. So thank you. Yeah, we try to like hit as many demographics as possible. I think the older audience will appreciate it for like, oh, that reminds me of like the old times, and you know the younger generation that likes a little bit of more of like the morbid kind of crazy stuff. You know, we touch on that as well. So it's all over the place.
All right, well, let's hold that thought. Chris and Paul are here from the Chris and Paul Show. They're talking about when they were on Bring the Funny on NBC. There's a lot more that I want to get to here in a second, so stand by. We'll get to more in a second. By the way, they're at the Comedy Zone tonight, and you can go to cltcomedyzone.com to get your tickets to see Chris and Paul. We'll have some for you, too, coming up here in just a bit.
Is it water, coffee, anything?
I'm good. Thank you.
Actually, water is that?
Yeah.
It's amazing what you guys are doing. Oh my gosh.
Well, one of the things that we do is there's a timing element because obviously we're on in Charlotte, but we're also on in 12 other cities. So sometimes we're talking just to Charlotte, and then sometimes we're talking to everybody.
Oh, right on.
And so there's a little bit of a juggling thing
Oh
that you do.
wow.
So that's why I sort of closed it, and then I said, hang on a second, because then when we came back, I was just talking to Charlotte. Because if we don't have to tell everybody how to get to the Charlotte Comedy Zone in
Right.
Spokane, Washington,
Right.
they don't care. You know?
They're like, well, we're willing to travel.
right.
Don't deprive us.
I mean, I'll always try and look and see, like, on your schedule, like, are you going to any of our other markets? And then we'll try to plug those, too. It didn't look like it. I see you guys are in Salt Lake next week,
Yeah.
and then some Connecticut shows.
Yeah.
And then Oklahoma City, Savannah, Nashville. Oh my gosh.
But we'll see what
Hopefully-
happens.
Yeah, or not.
Or not. Or not.
Or
Yeah.
performing in Chris's living room.
Yeah.
I think that's what we should do. We should just do like a live show via.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Live.
I mean,
I
you
mean,
too.
why not?
Yeah.
We'll just go to like the community and be like, hey, can we live stream? All right, guys, you got 2 viewers. Good luck. That's our mom's like, yeah, got 'em, kids.
We need cookies.
Oh my God.
How are you usually at comedy clubs when you're doing these shows, or just varies?
Yeah, we started off in comedy clubs, but since then, like the improv scene's taken off, so there's been more theaters available. So our show works a little better in a theater, but you know, since we don't, our show's pretty self-contained, and we don't need a big elaborate. You know, when they see the NBC show, they're like, "Oh, you guys have like a big screen." I'm like, "Well, that's the show."
Right.
You know, so we can perform
That's
pretty
with
much
a
anywhere,
budget.
luckily.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. We have like very minimal props. You know, so luckily we don't need a big. You know,
Yeah.
Thank you.
but the theaters are a little better for us, but.
Yeah.
We prefer
Well, like in the
it, but
cookie
yeah.
sketch, you have run off stage a couple
Oh, my
times.
God.
I guess you could do it at the Comedy Zone too. There's a curtain, but it's sort of when you're on stage at a comedy club, you're like on an island.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
not a lot of backstage.
Yeah.
We love that energy of a comedy club. Like, you know,
We did when we did DC with that in the basement.
yeah, we did,
Great.
but it's just cool. It just reminds us, like, when we started, with,
Yeah.
we just miss, like, the smoky, dingy clubs. Like,
Yeah.
you
Keeps
just
the
got that
fun in.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It does, yeah. Because you don't want a space where 300 seats are empty back there. Like,
Right.
What we're realizing is, like, the quick changes, you know, like getting into that cookie is a pain in the ass when
Getting
you don't
in
have,
that
like,
cookie.
4 people trying to, like, help you out.
Right.
It's just me ripping it. Like, oh, God, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. Just, it's insane.
Stand by. I gotta do math.
And I was just sending that off to our other affiliates, not trying to be rude. Because they're not all
People tune into the
live.
live, they're like, you guys don't even look at each other, you don't talk to each other. We're like, yeah, we all have our role to play. No, we'd love to come in and watch the show, and then they see it and they're like, we're not coming in.
You leave me on.
Like the show is so
I know.
boring behind the
And I bet
scenes.
you guys were like zip zap zapping at each other and high
Yeah,
fives,
right.
holding each other.
Oh,
Strippers and
Yeah.
bags and bands walking through. Nope,
It's a
nothing.
lot of coffee.
yeah. I mean, we've been together a long time, so.
So
We don't, you guys
the
are
lust is
like
gone.
we don't need to speak to each other more than
We love each
necessary.
other, but we need our space.
The vacations are even the best. We go on vacation, people come back, and we just don't talk to each other. But you do, something good happen, you want that magic, that improv,
Yeah.
the response of hearing it the first time, and you could be gone a week. Like, I saw a hog running down the middle of the highway this weekend. I was like, oh, I forgot to tell him.
I know.
Is that the other thing too? Like when you come in, if you have like a good story, do you like just go, I'm not saying anything until we get on air? And
You kind of want to just give a slight heads up, like, hey, I've got something.
Yeah.
That way you can, it's sort of dealing with this, but you don't want to give away the whole.
Right.
But sometimes we'll not have heads up, like a heads up on something. Somebody will send we've had the same text conversation going on for
7 years.
7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
So it could be anything. It could be a picture of somebody's dog doing something weird.
Well, we went to a new vet. It's a holistic vet, and there was
The
how
chakra
there's
chart.
diagrams on the wall. It was the chakras of the dog.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was like the orange, red, green of the, and it's an
was,
outline
okay.
of a dog. and it's
Really?
like, yeah. I was like, where am I?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that was good.
I still crack up at those really serious like cat food commercials. Like when I found out what they were feeding whiskers, I'm like, oh my god. Like,
That's the chakra chart.
oh my god, that's amazing. Hey man, I love dogs, but geez.
So we'll send things like that, or just like FYI, Target has Reese's eggs but no toilet paper. Things like that.
Right. Cool Beans back there wiping with Reese's eggs.
No, she went for cheese.
Why not with Reese's?
No, it hasn't gotten to that level yet. Oh, and I
Start being creative now.
I know. So this is probably the most interesting we've been on camera in a while.
See you later, guys.
Yeah.
Roast battle. Did you guys do a roast battle?
Roast battle?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's like,
I got really drunk one night. We're like, I don't think it cuts back. We're just like,
Yeah.
who wants to see me roast them?
I know this guy better than anybody. I'm going to tear him apart.
Yeah. You're insecure about that. You're like, oh wow. Oof.
You gonna make that? Yeah.
Yeah, I put extras in to fill it out. So.
Okay.
And we were just talking about the pig on the highway, but apparently there are cows roaming also on the side of one of our highways. And some,
Where's that highway? I want to go to.
I
right
heard
in
it.
Uptown.
I heard the words bovine revolution. And I was like, okay,
That
well,
was like at 6 this morning.
right. But I mean, if there's cows on the side of the highway,
That's something.
I know. But so far we're okay. I'm just monitoring the
We're from that
situation.
hometown. There's like that chimpanzee that like attacked that woman years ago.
Yes.
That was our hometown, and that I'm thinking about that because it got on the highway once and stopped traffic. It's just
The
like,
same one
same one. It was like hitting cars, and then years later
killed a woman.
killed a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think no, it didn't kill her.
No.
That's the crazy part.
Tore her face off.
Tore her face off. That's all.
If your monkey gets loose and is on the highway slapping cars,
I was
time
like,
to go.
if your monkey.
You knew that
Just
monkey
like
was a
it's
bad
dead.
seed.
I mean,
Years
there's
ago.
the writing on the wall, right?
Right.
You're
Oh.
probably going to eat someone's face later.
Oh, and that was right.
I didn't know that.
That's our hometown. Crazy.
And you knew the monkey, or knew of him.
I told him to do it. I thought it'd be funny. I didn't know he knew English. It was a bit. Tell the monkey to do something. Okay, I got it.
Rip that woman's
There
face
we
off.
go.
We used to
Just
have,
drive. I'm just a perfect analogy for life or a metaphor for life. Like I'm just trying to drive to work. Next thing I know, monkeys on my car. I'm just trying
Share,
to
yeah.
live.
Why were you late today? Was monkey on my windshield?
that dominated the news so much. We had an update. 200-pound
A
monkey
monkey update.
update.
I know that's when
It was like a whole sound. Whoop,
That was when he
100-pound
attacked the
monkey
owner. We didn't know about the
update.
car.
I can't find it.
Oh,
It's not in the
man.
system. It was God.
Yeah, that's like
Monkey.
That's a
7
wild
minutes away
dog.
from my house. Yeah.
Huh.
That's so random.
At that point, if I were that person, I would not want anyone to revive me. Just let me go.
Right.
I mean, my God.
I mean,
And
what a
no one was
way to go,
watching it.
though.
Anyway,
Sometimes.
It is the Woody Wilcox Show here at 106.5 The End. Man, if you're not with us on Facebook Live, you just missed out on the greatest monkey story of all time. But whatever. That's why you gotta pay attention for crying out loud. All right, so Chris and Paul are here from the Chris and Paul Show. And they were finalists on that NBC show, Bring the Funny. And so where does that stand, by the way? Is that like, are they going to keep doing that? Do you guys have any insight on that? Did it do well, or do you know anything about it?
Don't.
yeah, they were happy with the, I guess,
'Cause that was the
time
first.
slot of it.
That was the first season.
That was the first
Yeah.
season, yeah. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is coming back. So
It was interesting for those who, for some reason, didn't see the show. I mean, it was a comedy competition, and it was like Keenan Thompson and
yeah, Chrissy Teigen
Jeff
and Jeff Foxworthy, yeah.
and they were the sort of judges and all that sort of thing. And it was everything. You guys do kind of a sketch thing, and then there was stand-ups and
Yeah, it was like all different types of
Music,
comedy against
musical
each other,
comedy,
and yeah, it was just wild. And it was like in Universal Studios, and I'd never been before, and it's like it's literally just so Hollywood. We were like walking there, like Jay Leno walked by and Howie Mandel, and there's like a dinosaur. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? And then Paul and I with a whoopee cushion.
What was that? I mean, what was there a lot of interaction other than what we see on the show? Was it annoying behind the scenes? Was it fun? Like, how was that vibe?
It was fun, but it was stressful fun because you sit there for 6 hours not knowing if you're going to move on. But no one knew it until at the end, right at the very end, like at the night. Like we'd be there at 11 o'clock in the morning after we do makeup and get camera ready. And then they put us in the room. And then we were able to watch some of it, but they muted it, so we didn't even know what the judges were saying to everyone else. So, so we...
Paul and I are like big kids, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think there were some other people that may have been like annoyed that they had to wait around forever, and we're like, we're on TV.
Oh, yeah,
this
yeah.
is so. They got free hamburgers, and we're running around, and we're like running around the lot, and so we had a ball.
Yeah, definitely.
With our ADD was perfect for that environment, but yeah, it was a lot of waiting around, and they would go, all right, we're going to come up with the judges' comments. All right, judge number 1, cut. Okay, guys, go wait for like 4 hours, and we're like, oh, so it's a little bit of that, and you just kind of have to go with it, but
I do remember one point where they were switching mics back and forth, people, because they wanted to get certain things. So they would put mics on us, they would take it off. We're like, wait, what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean something?
Yeah,
And we're all looking at each other like, who's going?
I know they took our mics off for one of the things, like before they announced like moving on to the next round. Like, we don't need Chris and Paul's mic right now. And we're like, oh, that's it, we're done, we're done. And then they put a mic on Paul. I'm like, am I eliminated? Did Paul get through? What's going on? So it's easy to get sucked into that kind of chaos. So you
But
just
it
kind
was
of go
always,
with it.
but it was always fun, and everyone was the crew was super cool and just taking care of us. And
All before,
Yeah.
like we had seen people that were in the competition who we admired for years. So I'm like, oh my God, that person's here. Oh, we're never gonna win. Oh, there's a puppet. Oh, no. So it was just kind of like it was crazy. And when they put us in this hotel, I guess there was other reality shows. They just put them in this one hub, so the lobby is just like a circus.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like, are you on the show? Like, I think I waved to one guy who was in this like diamond
with a
studded
big
thing.
top hat.
I'm like, that guy must be in this comedy show. So I'm like, hey man, and he's just like, go away, like leave me alone.
Hollywood is that weird.
It was.
Yeah.
There
yeah.
would be just a hotel for reality shows.
It really was.
Yeah.
It was amazing, but it was kind of crazy because there was like this cool outdoor like bar area where everyone after the show they would go and drink, and once it got real, it's like, all right, people are getting cut now. It's like you get in that bus and we're like, yay! And then the bus that people got eliminated would drive in, and then they get off, and everyone would go, oh.
Yeah.
And then it was just a really weird, depressing thing, but it
It's
was
like up
good.
and down. It's like, 1 minute you're like, oh no, and next minute you're like, oh, this is so cool.
We made it to luckily we made it to the finals, and it was just like at that point there was very few of us, and it was like the lobby was like empty, like it wasn't the circus anymore, and but yeah, it was insane. And then we went home, so there, drink some water now.
I mean, has there been like a crazy change in your life since then, or has it not been? How has that played out?
Yeah, I wouldn't say a crazy change, and I think we kind of expected that. It's kind of like, back of the line, but we got back, and we definitely had some great exposure, and we were able to set a tour up with, which is really cool. And it's really weird because usually when we would perform in the city, we knew a lot of the people that would be in the crowds. So it is cool to go around the country and meet some of the people that enjoyed us on the show. So that's super cool to meet new people like that.
Had you been performing prior, mostly just around New York? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Or okay, so you hadn't been out in the rest of the exposing yourself to the rest
Well,
of the
we went to Edinburgh to the Fringe Festival out there. It's like the biggest Fringe festival in the world, and we just went out there to just test our stamina.
Yeah.
And we went out there with like these tiny little postcards. And we didn't know people put in hundreds of thousands of dollars in promotional materials that had billboards, and we had the wrong like information on our card, so we're like scratching it out. And that year, our first show, we had 2 people in the audience, and then we had to use them both in the show, so it was awkward. And as that went on, one of the judges for the Edinburgh the Comedy Awards, which we had no idea there was awards out there, saw our show, brought some more judges, and we got nominated that year. So it was us and Hannibal Buress, who's a big comic out there now. That we were like the only American acts. And people were like, who the hell are these guys? Because we missed the first week of previews, where everyone kind of gets like the inside scoop on who to see at the festival. Because we were at our buddy's wedding, so we showed up like blind with like these tiny little dinky postcards. So
walking on the mile, not knowing where to go, who to talk to.
They were like, "You guys got nominated. You need to sell out tonight." And we're like, "Okay." And John Oliver's in the front row, and we're like, "What's happening? What's happening?" And so a lot of it's kind of been like, just ignorance, just walking into things and making the best with a good attitude. But so and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we take a little bit of a risk. Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, because Hannibal Buress, different type of comedy. Obviously.
Yeah.
So it's not all, it's not all sketch or whatever. When you're doing these competitions or whatever.
Yeah. So we just ran into him in Denver. We're like, hey, it's really cool going around, and I think we relate to a lot of the international acts because they're a little outside of the box and a little different, and I feel like our show is a little outside of the box as well. So when we did Bring the Funny, most of those acts that were like out there, we were like, oh, we feel like we're at home. We're at like a festival, so we really glommed onto those guys.
That has to be fun.
It's insane.
Course,
and now we're
we're friends with the people in Italy and New Zealand and Australia.
So we would fanboy over these people. We'd meet them and like YouTube them and go, oh my god, we had a beer with that guy. Oh my god! And then the next day we'd be like, oh my god, we have your autograph. And so we still have fun doing it. And I think that's why 20 years in, we're still touring around, and we're still not sick of each other. We're just breaking more bones.
Yeah, exactly. We still hurt each other. But yeah, the fact that like we were in city the other day, and I forgot what Chris said to me, but we just started laughing over something stupid. I'm like, 20 years, we're still laughing. Or
We're like an old married couple.
Yeah, we are.
We laughed, we tickled, we fell into a bush. It was great.
Can't wait to see that.
That's our head.
season. Next season.
It's Chris and Paul from the Chris and Paul Show, and they were on Bring the Funny, the NBC show. And I heard you, maybe it was on because you guys are doing a little podcast. I don't know how often you're keeping up with it, but I listened to part of it the other day, and it was you guys trying to get your cookie through the airport.
Yeah. Oh my god. So that's the other thing.
So they did that huge sketch. Don't eat the cookies. If you saw the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a huge cookie costume, I guess.
A massive cookie. Luckily, since then, we found a bag that we can like zip it up in. We've been going to airports with just 2 big industrial black garbage bags with the duct tape around it, and we like just put it on the weighing thing. We're like, is that okay to bring into the plane? And they go, what is that? And we're like, it's a cookie. A cookie? Janice, there's a cookie over here. Yeah, it's a big cookie. What do you mean it's a big cookie? We're in the show. What show? And it's like bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, bang, bang, and we're running late for the thing. So then I show the woman a picture of Paul with his shirt off with milk on him, and she's like, what the hell is happening? And then after all of that, they let us on. But Paul just packed the bag yesterday for the plane, and it's like airport is just a different experience at this point, obviously.
Right.
So everyone's very somber, everything's very serious, and which it should be. And we're in line, and of course I get randomly screamed, and I'm like, okay, no problem. So they're doing the test, they're all whatever, and my bag gets held up, and I'm like, what's going on? I go, oh my god, Paul packed the bag. So I'm like, great, I can only imagine. And on our show, there's a sketch where we have a fake bag of drugs, and I'm like, great, I'm gonna get my ass kicked today. And Paul is filming me, like, oh, I did forget to check the bag, and I'm like, great. So the guy's unzipping it, and he's very serious, and he's pulling out bubbles and like fake money. There's a plastic baggie of fake money, and he's just kind of looking at this like, yeah, we do a comedy show.
It's just we're silly.
Wait, and I'm looking at Paul. He's filming me laughing. I'm like, at this moment in this country, this is not the time to be laughing at airport security, like checking my bag. And the guy's like, I do stand up a little bit too. And he's like, this is so cool. And like, right then it was like this whole.
Well, you got lucky then.
Yeah.
If you ever do something like that to me, it's not going to be okay.
The airport is the perfect place to pull pranks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And luckily, Paul forgot to put the drug prop in there. Thank God, or
No,
we
I
wouldn't be
remember
this
not to put it in.
Okay.
Look, don't pack a bath bomb either. That happened to me. And
Really?
you don't want to say the word bomb in front of people.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it is for the bath.
They pull out this giant ball and they're like, "We're going to take a sample. What is it?" She's like, "It's a bath." But
Is it thing you put in the water to make it fuzzy? Is he?
it's a
Yeah,
bath
it's a
ball.
We tested in water. It just started like, what is this?
That's not a good day.
As crazy as that story is, you just said there was a TSA guy who does stand-up.
Yes.
That's the craziest
It was
part
so
of that
cool.
story.
I'm for sure like we're missing this flight. The guy, he's like, I do stand up too. I'm like, hey, that's cool. And then we start talking. Paul gives him his card, and we all tickle and fall in a bush.
If you are a TSA guy who does stand-up, please be funnier in the future. I don't feel like I'm seeing that out there at the airport.
Not a lot of humor.
You gotta pack a thing of bubbles, and then they're like, oh, just bubbles.
That's how you find them.
And the lady kept going like, there's no water, there's no liquids in this bag. I'm like, no. Because we were kind of waiting. And she's like, you sure there's nothing in here? I'm like, no. And then, of course, it's the thing of bubbles. They're like, you can't bring bubbles. I'm like, no, I know. Paul packed. I'm sorry. Those are the guys with the cookie. What the hell is going on?
It smells like milk.
Yeah, so when we have to take a plane, it's a whole experience. So we'll let you know when we're in the airport and just come on and watch the hijinks.
I really would like to do
So if
that.
you're packing today, no bubbles.
No bubbles, no drugs, no. Okay.
And when do you guys leave in town? Because we'll tell people to go to the airport.
Yeah. First thing in the morning tomorrow, you watch me get, a cavity search in front of everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So you can see him at the airport. You can see him at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte tonight. You're going to be in Salt Lake City next week.
Salt Lake City next week, yeah.
Wise Guys.
Wise guys.
Yeah. We're
And
all
then,
over the place.
Windsor Locks, Connecticut in March 27th, I guess.
Yes. And then everything's on KrisAndPaulShow.com, our whole tour schedule, and you'll hear more about our fun stories, our podcast.
Yeah, our podcast
We're
is
still
basically-
recording it. The tour's been kind of getting in the way, but it's
Awesome.
good. I got 2 little kids, so
Work's
Not a
getting in
whole
the
lot.
way of work. Is that what you're saying?
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
This is when I get to relax. The kids are at home. I'm here
You
talking about.
slept in today.
I did.
This is a sleep-in day for you.
This was very nice.
You guys are a married couple.
Thanks, man.
That's great. No, I like that.
You'll find out more when we talk about our podcast. We have like 20 years of history, so we have a ton of stories.
Yeah.
We interview a lot of people
Yeah.
from the Bring the Funny, and we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Well, that's Chris and Paul, the Chris and Paul Show. Check them out, like he said on the website, chrisandpaulshow.com. Awesome, guys. Or Chris Paul Show, is it?
Chris and Paul.
Chris
Chris
and
and Paul, whatever.
You can Google
You
for
and
crying
you.
out loud.
The guys from Bring the Funny. That's our name now.
Let's spend 10 minutes on what your website actually is. Thank you, guys. It's awesome.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Go check them out. So again, tonight only, by the way, at the Comedy Zone in Uptown Charlotte. CLTComedyZone.com is how you can get your tickets. Cool Beans, you ready to give some away too? 844-4WW show to get in and see Chris and Paul. Awesome.
Yay!
That was
Thank you,
great.
guys.
I love that stuff. It's just, those stories are my favorite.
Oh
Because
my
it's a
God.
weird life, right?
It's very weird.
It's like you're a
It is.
regular person in a weird life.
Well, it's my daughter's
Yeah.
crying. She's like, Daddy, don't go. And I'm like packing a cookie. I'm like, I gotta go, babe. Daddy's gotta perform.
I can see that.
Taking this
It's
cookie
just
on
like-
the road.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, what the hell are we doing? But,
I can just see, I could be like at the airport, like, oh my God, these guys have a giant cookie, and the guy's in front of me.
it's ridiculous.
Years later in therapy, your daughter. Why do you hate cookies?
It's true.
I don't know.
Why would Daddy leave all the time? You dance with a cookie? I don't know. I don't think about it.
Oh my God.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
cool.
Let's do a
Yes.
picture.
Yes.
Thanks, Facebook.
Yeah, see you, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook. I love you.